What's up, everybody? I'm not sure if we are live just yet, but
We are,
yep,
we're
we
up.
are. We
Hello,
are.
hello.
We are live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 9:03 a.m., 18th of the 2nd, 18th of February here. It is a Friday morning in Sydney, Australia. Welcome. If we haven't met, my name is Yanni Baumeister, and to my left is Richard Lellies, aka Richard the Rig. We are the head coaches of Unity Gym and the Unified Movement System. We turn driven people like yourself into athletes, strong, flexible, fit legends. Remember, if you do want to take the next step and ascend into our tribe, the best way to do so is to join our Movement Mastermind Facebook group. If you search UMS Movement Mastermind, there will be a link in the description of this video. In there, you get a bunch of cool stuff. You get our 20-minute flexibility routine, which most of our highest performing legends started with. We also give away our ultimate warm-up routine, the 10-minute warm-up to prepare your lower body or upper body for a workout, and a whole bunch more. You get invitations to our 5-day flexibility challenge, and you just get to hang out with a really cool bunch of people. So if you haven't already, jump over there. Good morning to Dave Clark, who is in the Movement Mastermind group. Dave is also one of our legends in the 12-month athletic transformation program. And Dave is gearing up for getting ready for our nutrition talk this morning. We're having a deep dive into nutrition in the coaching group. And I'm going to talk about what we're going to be talking about today, which is the 5 pillars to healthy nutrition. I'm taking a deep dive into a bunch of new research that's come out on time-restricted eating, intermittent fasting, the gut microbiome. I'm going to be talking about the 3 reasons why diets don't work, and also the weight loss conundrum. We've spoken a little bit about that on the podcast today, but before I do, smash the like button if you haven't already. I'm going to do that now, and say hi to Richard. How are you, Richie?
Hello, everybody. I am great. I'm very good. I'm happy it's a Friday. Looking forward to a few rest days. Training's been intense this week, so
Yeah, I've
weekend a
had
little bit.
a really light day. I trained for the first time yesterday after my booster vaccine booster shot, which just sort of left me a little bit exhausted and didn't feel up to training. Also had a really, really dead shoulder, like Mike Tyson had given me a dead arm. But I cranked one out yesterday, a little bit under what I would expect to perform, and I'm squatting today, and we will see how I go. I'm hoping to be able to rep 140 kilos today for a few sets on the barbell back squat. I'm excited. Good morning, Kumran on the stream. Kumran used to be a member of our gym in North Sydney. How good. And he's moved to Melbourne, the most locked down city in the world. let's, let's not get political on
Yes,
the
that's not.
stream. Okay, the 5 pillars to healthy nutrition. And I will read from the 2022 amended version of the Nutrition Academy that our 12-month athletic transformation tribe get access to. Optimize the first pillar is to optimize caloric balance, and this is something that we teach in all of our nutrition programs. It is absolutely essential, and it is step 1. You cannot maintain a healthy body composition, a lean body composition, if you do not know how to optimize how many calories you need based on how much exercise you do. So optimize caloric balance. If you consume too many calories, you'll get fat. If you consume too few calories, you'll get skinny. Both extremes are unhealthy, but not necessarily equal, because periods of caloric deficit are very good for you and upregulate healing pathways like cell autophagy. And it doesn't really matter if you achieve a deficit through time restriction, fasting, or a low-calorie diet. However, irrespective of what you choose, you should always prioritize muscle protein synthesis. And this is step 2 in our nutrition guidelines, in our diets, in everything that we do. Muscle protein synthesis is important because your muscles are secretory organs that sustain life, prevent frailty, and upregulate metabolic function, making it easier to stay lean and healthy. Now, make no mistake, if you don't have healthy, if you don't promote healthy muscle tissue, healthy muscles as you age, you will lose your muscle tissue post 50 years old, anywhere between 1 and 3% per year. It is an absolute disaster, and that's why it should be prioritized. Now, um, the the next step, the next pillar in optimum nutrition is to make sure that you can digest your dietary protein properly. So, in order to digest dietary protein and other nutrients, you must have a healthy gut microbiome. And we're going to go deeper into this in the nutrition deep dive in our 12-month transformation group after this stream. The bacteria in your gut plays a major role in the in the metabolization of the foods we eat and your mood, food cravings, and immune system. In addition to optimizing your physical performance and health through a healthy gut microbiome, muscle protein synthesis, and caloric balance, you must eliminate systemic inflammation by minimizing or eliminating highly processed foods. Doing so will help you maintain a lean and muscular physique because processed foods are lower in healthy fiber and protein, making it harder to balance your calories. And it creates a loop. Those five elements, if we were to add sleep, because more and more research is coming out showing that nothing seems to work if you're not sleeping enough, are absolutely critical to optimal health. And that's what makes up the backbone of our nutrition guidelines, recommendations, programming, and nutrition academy in the UMS. And I've had my own personal journey of exploring each of these for a variety of different reasons. For example, training when I sort of started to taper away from amateur boxing and moved into bodybuilding style training in the gym. I trained extremely hard for 6 years and only put on a few kilos of lean muscle. And it wasn't until I learnt how to optimize my dietary protein intake to maximize muscle protein synthesis did I start to put on muscle. And it was a real breakthrough for me. The training didn't change at all, but my diet changed a lot. And then all of a sudden, I had a breakthrough and started to gain weight. And then since then, gained roughly 20 kilograms of lean muscle. I was a very skinny sort of adolescent. And then throughout my life, for a variety of factors, including adolescent recreational drug abuse, also antibiotics, a lot of antibiotic intervention because I had quite bad acne. Also, when I was a young child, I was bitten by a funnel web spider, which was quite disastrous for my immune system development because back then they didn't have access to antivenoms and things like that. So the answer was to trial different types of antibiotics and steroids and things like that to help me while I was in hospital. And all of that compounded to create, to really give my gut microbiome an uppercut and really make it quite difficult for my gut. And throughout my 20s, I developed quite a chronic case of irritable bowel syndrome. They label you with when you have gut problems that are unexplainable. And I've gone down the path of investigating this, working with people like Professor Tom Barodi here in Sydney, doing all sorts of different strategies to try and repair my gut microbiome and my gut. Yeah, it's with some success and a lot of a lot of frustration and failure. So that's the reason why I went down that rabbit hole and really start to investigate it. But what I can tell you, and I don't have the time to go into it too extensively here. But what I can tell you is that the gut microbiome plays a huge role in who we are and how we metabolize food, and it's an area of fairly new science. You know, we're really only just starting to uncover this at the moment, and we don't have a lot of metadata. You know, the very top, the pinnacle of scientific research is metadata, where you can draw together lots and lots of great studies that have been peer reviewed and published, and then study the studies, and you get a really good picture of what's going on at that point. And the research on gut microbiome is not quite there yet. We're getting closer, but we're uncovering some pretty astonishing things. Like, for instance, you can take the gut microbiome from a healthy individual and put it into an obese individual, and the obese individual will be able to lose weight much easier, and vice versa. You can take the microbiome from a obese individual and put it into a healthy individual, and all of a sudden the healthy individual will struggle to maintain their weight and will generally gain weight. So it's there's some pretty incredible stuff going on. Professor Barodi here in Sydney is very, very adamant that you can cure depression, all sorts of different things if you transplant healthy gut microbiota biota to an unhealthy person. And he is sort of one of the scientists that has pioneered this fecal transplant technology, where you actually take the bacteria from a healthy individual and transplant it into an unhealthy individual. So it's a really big, interesting area of science, and I think we're going to learn a lot more in the decades to come. But what I really want to focus on, and on the base level, on the foundation level, and what we teach our guys in our peak performance group, is that the two most important, without doubt, the two most important things that you guys learn to do is manage calories in versus calories out, and manage protein in. And the easiest way to do that is to figure out how much protein you need, build your diet around protein, and then in the rest of the calories that you can afford before you before you start putting on weight, just do your very best to get them from whole foods. And if you do those two things, you will generally do really well. If you don't do those two things, you will always guaranteed struggle with your weight management, with your muscle mass. And it doesn't really matter how much you exercise and how much effort you put into exercise. If you don't get that dietary protein right, you're going to be in trouble. Richie, what's your experience with dietary protein and calories? Because you seem to stay very lean all year round.
So I don't really monitor the calories. Yeah, let me switch screens. I don't really personally. I don't really monitor my calories extensively. I have a rough idea of what I'm eating, and I can sort of see what happens to my body if I know if I'm eating under that amount or over. But I am pretty good with monitoring how much protein I have, and let's be clear. My goals are to put on muscle. I want to put on as much muscle as I can before I get older into my early age, because we know as we age it's harder to put muscle on, and we have this sort of degradation of protein and muscle mass over the years as we go past the ages of 40, 50. It becomes even harder to do. So that's my goal, is to eat in a way that I can maintain a lean physique, but also put on as much muscle mass as possible. And I do that through, I don't do intermittent fasting. I eat 3 to 4 meals a day, 3 of which being like food, and the other 1 to 2 other meals in the day being protein powder, supplementary protein powder. And specifically, in the morning, I alternate between having high protein yogurt with protein powder and berries as my breakfast, or I have 4 to 5 eggs with a protein shake as well. And then lunch is generally what I've cooked for dinner the previous night. So I make enough food at dinner to help me in the lunchtime the next day, and that's always based around protein. So I'll have like that 100 to 200 grams of meat, not actually protein, but in terms of weight meat, for dinner, and then have the same thing again for lunch. And I just heat that up, and that's been working for me for years now. And in between those main meals, I have a protein shake, because I know for someone of my size, I need that high level of protein, high amount of protein and frequency in order to continue putting on muscle. As you get larger, as you get bigger, you need to eat more of it to continue this growth. And yeah, so I squeeze in those protein shakes in between. But even if you're not like me, even if you're not a large individual, you need the right amount of protein for your size. So, it can be tricky to do that if you're not monitoring and sort of calculating the protein. Like I speak to a lot of people. I've spoken to a lot of people over the years, and I ask them, how much protein you're having? Oh yeah, I have an egg in the morning. I have 2 eggs, and that does me fine. And I'm like, well, I mean, you're not as big as me, but that's still not enough for you, mate. Like,
Yeah.
you're really underestimating the amount of protein you need per meal in order to build muscle. And I think a lot of people get that wrong. Like, it's this underestimation of how much you need.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't have to eat like a bodybuilder to get it done. Like, there's a good point in the middle for everybody. But it is important to know what that is exactly.
Yeah. It's the one thing that everyone seems to just get really wrong. And it's the one thing that if you got right would make the biggest change, would make the
Yeah.
biggest difference to your physique. Listen, guys, we don't have time to go deeper today. If you want to get insights into this, the first step, as I said, is to join the Movement Mastermind Facebook group. I can see we got a couple of people on the live stream. Ricky Webster, good morning. Lisa Omby's on the live. Is there a formula for protein intake that you can share?
Yes.
Absolutely, 100%. And they vary a lot. But the easiest one, I think, is to say 2 grams per kilogram of body mass, of body weight, is the most straightforward. I actually increase it a little bit because of my digestion, because of my IBS. If you've got poor digestion, then you're not digesting everything you consume. And so I actually go a little bit more than that. And yeah, I base that on what I need every day, and then I calculate how much I need in sort of pounds. I need about roughly 2 pounds of lean meat a day, based on how much I'm training and how much protein I want to hit. And so when I go shopping at the start of the week, I go and buy 14 pounds of meat. That's what I do, and I've that in the fridge. I can go and show you if you want. My fridge is just the top 2 layers is filled with lean meat and different cuts of meat that I like, and that's how you got to do it. And then you've got, if you've got kids, you got to buy a little bit more. There's no circumventing this. This is, and like Richard said, I have a liquid meal every day too. I have a meal with protein powder and a couple of eggs, blended up with some fresh fruit or berries and a couple of other things, creatine monohydrate. But anyway, listen, we can't go too deep into that. Get yourself into the Movement Mastermind if you're not already. And for everyone else who's watching, who is part of the 12-month transformation tribe, get yourself over there. We're going to jump in and go live and go real deep into this. So let's go.
Yeah.
See ya.